Welcome to a world shrouded in mystery and deceit, to a place where faith twists into fanaticism and love becomes a weapon. This is the maze of murder and crimes, and this is the chilling tale of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. It's a journey that has shaken even the most seasoned investigators and left a community shattered. At the center of this nightmare are two innocent children, J.J. Vallow, a bright, joyful boy robbed of his future, and Tylee Ryan, a vibrant teenager silenced in her prime. This case plunges us into a world of shadows and secrets, where religious fanaticism meets deadly intent, where the lines between right and wrong blur. It's a story that crosses state lines, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives. As we peel back the layers of this case, you'll meet Chad and Lori, seemingly ordinary people. Chad Daybell. He wasn't your typical author toiling away in obscurity. He wrote about the end of times, about near-death experiences, about the world beyond. His words resonated with a certain audience, people drawn to the darkness, to the unknown. But Chad's writing wasn't just fiction, or was it? He claimed to have had near-death experiences himself, visions of the afterlife. He documented these experiences in his books, his words dripping with urgency, with conviction. These experiences, he claimed, gave him unique insights into the spiritual world, a world teetering on the brink before the storm hit, before the darkness consumed him. Chad Daybell had a life many would envy. He was married to Tammy, a devoted wife, a loving mother. Together they had built a life in the quiet town of Salem, Idaho, raising 5 children. Lori Vallow. On the surface, she was a picture of charm, of charisma. She drew people to her with her warmth, her seemingly unwavering faith. She was devoted to her children, at least that's what everyone believed. But Lori had a past marked by tragedy, by troubled relationships. She had been married 4 times, each marriage ending in turmoil, in accusations, in whispers that followed her like shadows. Then came July 2019. Lori's 4th husband, Charles Vallow, was shot and killed by her own brother, Alex Cox, a tragedy that sent shockwaves through her life. Their connection was immediate, intense, 2 souls drawn to each other's darkness. Chad saw in Lori a kindred spirit, someone who shared his apocalyptic beliefs, someone who could help him fulfill his divine mission. Lori, vulnerable and grieving, was drawn to Chad's charisma, to his certainty. She embraced his teachings, his prophecies. She saw in him a way out of the darkness. Their relationship, which began as a secret affair, quickly spiraled into something far more dangerous. They shared a belief in a coming apocalypse, in a chosen few destined to survive, and they believed they were among the chosen. Together, Chad and Lori wove a web of lies, of manipulation. They drew others into their circle, preying on their fears, their vulnerabilities, convincing them that they were part of something extraordinary, something divine. They justified their actions, no matter how horrific, as part of a higher calling, a mission to prepare for the end of times, to cleanse the world of evil, to usher in a new era, even when those actions turned deadly. J.J. Vallow, a joyful spirit silenced. 7-year-old J.J. Vallow was a beacon of light, born with a radiant smile that could melt even the coldest of hearts. Diagnosed with autism, J.J. navigated the world a little differently. Adopted by Lori and Charles Vallow as a toddler, J.J. found a loving home. He shared an unbreakable bond with his older sister, Tylee. Tylee, with her protective instincts, became J.J.'s biggest advocate. J.J.'s world was filled with simple joys. The feel of soft blankets, the comforting repetition of his favorite cartoons. His laughter was infectious, his spirit impossible to dampen. He was a reminder that even in a world often shrouded in darkness, pure, unadulterated joy could still exist. But J.J.'s light was tragically extinguished, stolen away far too soon. His disappearance, a horrifying mystery that gripped a nation. His absence left a void, a silence where his laughter once echoed. Tylee Ryan, a spirited teenager on the cusp of adulthood, embraced life with a fiery passion. Born in 2002, she had already experienced her share of loss. But Tylee met these challenges with a resilience and strength that belied her years. With her infectious laugh and a smile that could light up a room, Tylee possessed a vibrant energy. She was a natural caregiver, her love for her younger brother JJ knowing no bounds. She was his champion, his confidant, his partner in crime. But Tylee's story, much like her brother's, took a tragic turn. Her vibrant light extinguished far too soon. Her disappearance, a chilling echo of JJ's fate, sent shockwaves of grief and disbelief through those who knew and loved her. Tammy Daybell, a beloved wife, mother, and educator, was a pillar of strength and kindness in her community. Married to Chad Daybell for nearly 3 decades, she dedicated her life to creating a loving home for their 5 children. Her warm smile and gentle demeanor touched the lives of countless students, colleagues, and friends. Tammy's life revolved around her family. She was a constant source of support for Chad, encouraging his writing career and sharing his passion for their shared faith. Her home was a sanctuary filled with laughter, warmth, and the comforting aroma of freshly baked treats. Tammy's sudden passing left a void that could never be filled. The circumstances surrounding her demise, once seemingly straightforward, transformed into a chilling mystery. The property of Chad Daybell in Salem, Idaho, painted a picture of rural tranquility. Nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering fields, it seemed an unlikely setting for such unimaginable horrors. Yet beneath the surface of this idyllic landscape, a darkness festered. On June 9, 2020, the peace was shattered. Law enforcement, armed with a search warrant, descended upon the property. Their arrival marked a turning point in the case. As investigators fanned out across the property, a palpable sense of dread settled over the scene. And then they found him. Little JJ Vallow, his infectious laughter forever silenced, buried in a shallow grave. Wrapped in plastic and duct tape, his small body spoke volumes of a cruelty that defied comprehension. The discovery of JJ's remains sent shockwaves of grief and anger rippling outward, but for the investigators, it was a grim validation of their darkest suspicions. Their search continued, every inch of the property meticulously examined. And then, just a short distance from where JJ lay, another gruesome discovery. Not a grave this time, but a fire pit, its charred remnants whispering tales of a desperate attempt to erase the past. What they found were not the recognizable remains of a vibrant young woman, but a collection of bone fragments, charred and scattered amidst the ashes. The discovery of JJ and Tylee's remains on Chad Daybell's property shattered the facade of normalcy. The idyllic setting, once a symbol of rural tranquility, was now forever etched in the public consciousness as a place of unimaginable horror. But the investigation was far from over. The discovery of the children's remains only deepened the mystery surrounding Tammy Daybell's death. Her passing, initially attributed to natural causes, now took on a sinister new significance. Exhumation of Tammy's body from its resting place in Utah became a somber necessity. The autopsy revealed the chilling truth that had been hidden beneath the veil of a peaceful passing. Tammy Daybell had not died of natural causes. She had been murdered. Our story begins in January 2019. Charles Vallow, Lori's husband at the time, files for divorce. His court filings paint a disturbing picture of Lori. He describes a woman consumed by strange and unsettling beliefs. A woman who has become a danger to herself and others. Charles loved Lori, but he feared for his life. He feared for the safety of his children. On July 11th, tragedy struck. Charles Vallow was shot and killed in his own home. The shooter, Lori's brother, Alex Cox. But the seeds of doubt had been sown. August brought with it a whirlwind of change. Lori moved to Rexburg, Idaho with JJ and Tylee, drawn by Chad Daybell, the doomsday author. Rexburg seemed an unlikely setting for horrors, but beneath the surface a darkness was brewing, a darkness fueled by fanaticism and delusion. September marked the beginning of a nightmare. Tylee was last seen on the 8th. Her disappearance was dismissed as a runaway, but then, on September 22nd, JJ vanished. This time, the alarm bells were impossible to ignore. 2 children gone without a trace. Fear turned to panic as the community rallied. Lori offered bizarre and conflicting stories. She claimed the children were safe, but her words rang hollow. The truth was buried beneath her narrative. January 2020. The new year brought no solace, no answers. JJ and Tylee were still missing, and Lori, now a person of interest in their disappearance, had vanished as well. She was eventually located in Kauai, Hawaii, with Chad Daybell by her side. They seemed unconcerned, their carefree demeanor a slap in the face to the families desperately seeking answers. On February 20th, Lori was arrested in Hawaii, but the charges were not for murder, not yet. She was charged with child abandonment and contempt of court. The authorities, it seemed, were playing a waiting game, gathering evidence, building their case. Then, on June 9th, 2020, the nation gasped. The gruesome discovery of JJ and Tylee's remains on Chad Daybell's property sent shockwaves of horror and disbelief across the country. The quiet tranquility of Salem, Idaho was shattered, replaced by the harsh glare of the media spotlight. The whispers had turned to screams. The truth, buried for so long, had finally been unearthed. And the world recoiled in horror at the depths of depravity that had been hidden beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary couple. The wheels of justice, though slow, began to turn. Chad Daybell was arrested on June 9th, 2020. Lori's charges were upgraded to first-degree murder. The trial was a media spectacle. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence. Witness testimonies painted a damning picture. On May 12th, 2023, Lori was found guilty. Chad's trial ended with his conviction on May 25, 2023. Both were sentenced to life in prison without parole. In the digital age, our darkest secrets often reside not in locked diaries or hidden compartments, but in the vast, seemingly ephemeral realm of cyberspace. The case of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow proved no exception. In fact, it was their own words, their own digital whispers that would ultimately help seal their fate. Text messages, emails, and online searches became a treasure trove of incriminating evidence, revealing the depths of their twisted beliefs and their chilling plans. The prosecution meticulously pieced together a digital tapestry of deceit, exposing the couple's descent into darkness and their cold-blooded calculations. One chilling text exchange recovered from the abyss of deleted messages revealed Lori referring to her own children as zombies. The term, laden with their twisted, apocalyptic ideology, sent chills down the spines of investigators and jurors alike. It was a stark reminder that in the minds of Chad and Lori, their victims were no longer human beings deserving of love and protection, but obstacles to be removed, souls to be extinguished. While religious delusion played a central role in the narrative spun by Chad and Lori, the evidence suggested a more earthly motivation lurking beneath the surface greed. The allure of financial gain, of profiting from the very tragedies they orchestrated, added a chilling layer of depravity to their crimes. Financial records became a weapon in the hands of the prosecution, exposing a pattern of suspicious transactions that belied the couple's claims of innocence. Life insurance policies, hastily taken out on Tammy Daybell shortly before her untimely demise, painted a grim picture of premeditation, of a plan hatched in the shadows to profit from her death. Large withdrawals from Tammy's accounts made by Chad in the wake of her passing further fueled suspicions. It seemed that even as he mourned the loss of his wife, he was already reaping the financial rewards of her demise. The stark reality of their greed stood in stark contrast to the spiritual facade they so carefully constructed, revealing the depths of their hypocrisy and the callousness with which they disposed of those who stood in their way. Section 3. Unmasking the Facade Witness Testimonies. While digital evidence and financial records provided a damning trail of breadcrumbs, it was the voices of those who knew Chad and Lori best that truly brought the horrors of their crimes into focus. Witness testimonies, delivered with a mix of heartbreak, anger, and disbelief, chipped away at the couple's carefully constructed facade, revealing the chilling reality that lurked beneath. Friends and family members, initially drawn to Lori's charisma and Chad's spiritual teachings, found themselves grappling with the monstrous truth that had been hidden in plain sight. Their testimonies painted a picture of a couple slowly unraveling, their beliefs metastasizing into a dangerous obsession that justified the unthinkable. Melanie Gibb, a close friend of Lori's, delivered a particularly poignant testimony. She spoke of Lori's descent into delusion, of her increasingly bizarre pronouncements about zombies and dark spirits. Gibbs' account, delivered with a palpable sense of betrayal and sorrow, offered a glimpse into the insidious nature of the couple's beliefs and the powerful hold they had over those drawn into their web. The echoes of loss reverberate through this case. The courtroom may be silent, the verdict delivered, but the pain lingers. JJ's infectious laughter, Tylee's vibrant spirit, Tammy's quiet strength, all silenced, stolen away by a darkness that defied comprehension. Their absence is a wound that may never fully heal, a constant ache in the hearts of those who loved them. Family members left to grapple with the unimaginable, friends haunted by what might have been. The community of Rexburg, Idaho, once a picture of idyllic small-town life, will forever bear the scars of this tragedy. The whispers will linger, the questions will remain, and the search for understanding, for a way to make sense of the senseless, will continue. The case of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow serves as a chilling reminder that evil often wears a mask of normalcy. That darkness can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary lives, and that the price of unchecked belief can be heartbreakingly high. This case is not just about two individuals. It's about the dangers of unchecked belief, the seductive power of an ideology that promises salvation, that justifies the unthinkable. Chad Daybell, with his apocalyptic prophecies and claims of divine authority, offered a twisted path to enlightenment. Lori Vallow, lost in a sea of grief and instability, clung to his words like a lifeline. Their belief system, a toxic blend of religious extremism, conspiracy theories, and self-aggrandizement, became a weapon, used to manipulate, to control, to eliminate anyone deemed an obstacle to their twisted vision of the future. The case serves as a stark warning, a reminder that fanaticism can take root anywhere, in any community, in any belief system. It preys on our fears, our insecurities, our longing for something to believe in, and it can lead us down a path of destruction. In the aftermath of this tragedy, we are left to pick up the pieces, to seek justice for those who can no longer speak for themselves, to honor the memory of JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. But we must also ask ourselves, what lessons can we learn from this darkness? How can we prevent such horrors from happening again? The answer in part lies in vigilance, in recognizing the signs of extremism, in challenging dangerous ideologies, in fostering critical thinking and a healthy skepticism. We must be guardians of innocence, protectors of the vulnerable. We must teach our children to question, to think for themselves, to recognize the difference between faith and fanaticism. And perhaps most importantly, we must never look away from the darkness, for it is in confronting evil, in understanding its roots, that we can hope to prevent its spread. And only then can we begin to heal the wounds of the past and build a future where such tragedies are not repeated.